To know what you need Muncie. Here's your host, Director of News Operations and lead morning anchor, Steve Lindell.
People are talking about the gas tax. Wait, what gas tax? We're talking about the weather turnaround, too. It's getting better. All things United Way, bottom of hour, and our local news summary hit time is scheduled for 8:19. We'll see how close we get. Steve Lindell talking weather first with Mr. Todd Clausen.
Today will be the warmest day of the week as our high temperature gets up to 77 degrees. Skies will be mostly cloudy, but it will be a little breezy throughout the afternoon hours. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy skies down to 55 degrees. And then for Friday, rain showers return to the forecast. Overall, it's a mostly cloudy day. The showers should be on a scattered basis and mainly light throughout the afternoon with a high of 67. I'm in for Paul Poteet. I'm meteorologist Todd Clausen.
Doing a great job. Thank you very much, Mr. Clausen. Now, Mr. Beckwith. We have him in our Zoom room and now audible and visual in our big apparatus of computers. Thank you for touting freedom there. I can see that on your shirt. Thank you for advocating for that for us. How are you, Mr. Lieutenant Governor?
I'm doing well, Steve. Thanks for having me again, and always a pleasure to be on with you.
Let's talk first about the gas tax. It was amazing what a difference a day can make. Yesterday morning, if I would have talked to you, I would have maybe asked on behalf of a listener, why haven't you done the gas tax pause yet? Well, later in the afternoon or maybe late morning, Governor Braun did just that. So talk about that late-breaking information, if you could, for us.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a long time coming, and the governor, I think, rightfully so, stepped up and is trying to give as much financial relief to Hoosiers as possible. You know, I think a lot of times I'm frustrated just as much as anyone else is with high gas taxes, high property taxes. You've got high utility costs, and so the governor and I, we do talk about this quite a bit, and he's just as frustrated as anyone else. The problem is the legislature always holds us up. I mean, so if you want to put blame where blame is due, you got to put it on the Senate and our legislature. And a lot of times it's those guys that really just don't want, during the session, they don't want to do anything to, we saw this with the property tax battle. They didn't want to really take ownership and say, hey, how can we help Hoosiers? Instead, we were focused on supporting local government and giving local government more money. And so I think that's where the governor and I get frustrated. But this is one thing where he can suspend it, and rightfully so, he did, and I give him a lot of credit for doing that. And so now if we can just, I put out a tweet that said, why suspend it? Let's just get rid of it altogether. I mean, like that's because the Senate was, they were saying, hey, we've been calling on the governor to do this. I'm like, you guys created the problem. Don't come over here to the executive branch and tell us to Band-Aid your problem, fix it, and get rid of it once and for all. We can do only so much with executive orders in the executive branch, but they're the ones that really can fix it.
Does Governor Braun support that notion, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, of getting rid of it altogether?
Well, I think he supports the notion of getting rid of the high financial burden that Hoosiers are feeling and facing. I mean, utility costs, property taxes, gas tax. I mean, it's all just adding up. It's just nickel and diming everyday Hoosiers. And so whatever he can do, whatever I can do, whatever the legislature is willing to do to cut taxes and to cut the financial pressures, I mean, we're all in. You don't have to, twist my arm to get us to buy on board with that. We're already there.
On WMUN's Delaware County Today in Studio B, I'm Steve Lindell. He is in Studio Florida. You're traveling for business. Tell us what you're doing there, Mr. Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah, thanks. Down in Florida, we're down in the Tampa area, Sarasota, and we've got the National Lieutenant Governors Association meeting. We get together a couple times a year with all the lieutenant governors from around the country, and we talk best practices. What's working. Red and blue states alike. So it's not a partisan thing. It's for the good of the nation. And it's been really good. I mean, we've talked yesterday. We were with the deputy director of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and that was really good, talking about what's coming for our farmers, how we can help our farmers, how we can open up more lanes of export markets. Right now, China was the big market, and when China goes bust, like we saw with the tariffs, and where do our farmers go to sell? And so we were really talking about how can we help Hoosier farmers get more access to more markets globally. And so it's really, really encouraging. I mean, some of the things that they were saying that's already happening right now, and things that will be coming down the pike even as early as October for our farmers is really, really good. And so we're excited for that.
Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith is my guest on WMUN. Never afraid to share his thoughts or opinions. I will ask for one now with respect to what happened just the other day with our country. There was the deadline imposed by President Trump, and he opted to continue negotiations with Iran, and 2-week ceasefire is the way that is supposedly being handled at the moment. I say supposedly because you wait 5 minutes and things change. What's your thoughts on how that's all being handled with respect to the ceasefire right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think a ceasefire is always going to be day to day. I mean, with a regime like Iran, you can't trust them. You don't even know who's actually technically in power. So doing a ceasefire with a group over here may not be the group that's launching missiles over there. And so we've absolutely just annihilated their ability to actually be a threat. And I appreciate President Trump for that. I think that's really, really important. And I supported him going in and making these strikes alongside of Israel, because they've been killing Americans for 47 years, whether the Beirut bombings to proxies like Hezbollah, to IEDs in Iraq, friends of mine that lost their lives or their limbs because of Iranian IEDs in Iraq and Afghanistan. And then we've seen the Iranian proxies who are funded by Iran. They've been kidnapping Americans for 47 years, so all the way back to the Iran hostage crisis. And so, and then they'll behead our citizens. Enough is enough. And 47 years of this is, we tried to negotiate. We sought peace. We didn't want to go to war. And finally, President Trump, as he rightfully so, said, okay, we're going to bomb the hell out of you then. And if you guys won't stop screwing with us, we're coming in and we're going to make it so you can never screw with Americans ever again. And I think that's good. And I think the world will be a better place for it. And I know it's hard to go through it, and gas taxes or gas prices are up because of it. But I think, ceasefires day to day. I don't put a whole lot of stock that Iran's going to honor anything. But hey, kudos to President Trump for making the effort to end this and get Iran back in a place where they can be a world neighbor, and we don't have to worry about Americans losing their lives because of their deadly tactics.
On WMUN's Delaware County Today, I'm Steve Lindell in Studio B, talking to Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. Closer to home, and you've talked to me about this issue before. Child care costs. You've done some work, you've done some conversations and some sharing. Any update with respect to progress on that for mommies and daddies and parents and guardians in Indiana?
Yeah, well, right now the big thing is we're getting together with these child care groups, whether it's child advocacy centers or child abuse centers or child care centers, and we're starting to build our lobbying coalition for the budget session next year. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. It's going to be, once we go back to the budget session starting in January, it's going to be saying, okay, here's why it's justified that the state put some money behind these child care centers and get these waivers and these vouchers back where they should be. I mean, it took a big hit last year, and I understand why. It was because we got over our skis during COVID and spent way too much money than we actually had, and so we had to dial it back more. And so now that the dust is settled, now it's going to be okay. What can we do to advocate for these places next year? So it's just going to be hold on. I think help is coming. I think we'll have a better outcome in the next budget session. But it's it's definitely not easy for some of these child care centers right now. We certainly understand the pain they're going through. And then I will say this too, Steve. Let's remember, this is kind of my limited government hat. Coming on, I sat down with a child care center a few months ago, and she told me that 75% of their payroll comes from government subsidies. And so I said to her, oh, so you're telling me that the government owns a child care center that you work at? And she's like, no, we own it. Like, I'm the owner. I'm like, no, the government technically owns it if we're paying y'all 75% of your payroll. And I think there has to be an honest conversation, like, to say, the government's not in the child care business, and it shouldn't be in the child care business. We can help, and we're happy to do so. But if you're relying on 75% of your payroll to come from government, you probably shouldn't be in business, or there's something wrong going on in your business practices, and you need some help to get it right sized. And so, just want to make that clear too. Like, we're just not going to give handouts just because it's childcare and it sounds good. It's no, we want it to be efficient. We want it to be run well, and we're not just going to waste government tax dollars.
On WMUN's Delaware County Today, Steve Lindell in our Studio B via our Zoom room, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. On the subject of kids, social media reforms, the governor recently signing into law some changes. Were those changes enough, in your estimation, to protect our kids?
Yeah, I mean it's a step in the right direction. I think it's gonna be bigger consequences for those who do evil. Listen, government's job, according to God's word, says government's job is to not bear the sword in vain. And I think what's happened is we've not done that well over the years. We've allowed evildoers to sort of get a slap on the wrist. I mean, you look at sort of this revolving judicial circuit that we have in places like Marion County, where someone does evil and they're back on the street the next day. And I think Governor Braun is done with that. He's saying, no, this isn't the way that it's going to go under my watch. And rightfully so. He's stepped up and said there's going to be real consequences for people who do evil things, and government's job is to promote good and to punish evil. And so we just have to, and this is why I think sometimes it's people who have big hearts, they're compassionate, they love mercy. That's good. That's a godly characteristic. But sometimes when you're in government, it's not the government's job to be compassionate. It's the government's job to be justice centered and make sure that justice is carried out, and justice delayed is justice denied. And so for a long time, when it comes to child crimes against children, we've seen justice delayed. And sometimes justice not even doled out. So I think what the governor's doing is good, and I support him wholeheartedly.
Two quick items left. Want to be respectful of your time, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. 92 and You. Tell me about that initiative, would you?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is our 92 county tour that my office is doing, and we're going to go to all 92 counties. We're going to do town halls. We're going to have a microphone where you can step up to the mic and the floor is yours, and you can ask some questions. You can make some comments. I mean, heck, if you wanted to sing a little karaoke, that's fine too. The floor is yours.
Well, you don't want me doing that. I'm just saying.
And so, and so we want to make sure that we're going to the people, and that's one thing that I've just throughout the years I've never seen government really go to the people that well. And so we're just saying, hey, we're going to go to all 92 counties over the next 2 years here. This is going to be a 2-year run, and we're going to make sure that everybody gets a chance to come out, make their concerns heard, and we bring our staff with us, so it's not just venting. It's hey, we want to, if there's a problem, we want to help kick down the doors of government bureaucracy for you so you can get your problem solved. And so we got our staff there, and they're ready to help and jump in. And so they're really fun. I mean, if you're listening, come on out to one, and you can find them on our website where they're going to be. But it's definitely a neat experience, and I love it. And going back, dialoguing with people who don't always agree with you is really, to me, it's a lot of fun. So,
last item for Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith this morning. I checked the name of this last little title here. I was hoping it would be the Silver Hoosier Award, but unfortunately it's the Golden Hoosier Award, and I don't qualify by the age requirement just yet. Tell me about that one, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're close. I mean, I don't want to say you're.
Hey, watch it. Watch it. The questions get harder.
That's hilarious. No, we want to honor Hoosiers that have done, lived extraordinary lives, and so obviously it's for those who are wiser in life. They've gone through life. They've had a lot of wisdom bestowed upon them, and so if you know somebody that you deserving of this, somebody that has a pretty cool testimony, if they've given back to their community in a neat way, or they've just been selflessly serving, and they don't get the glory, they don't ever get the spotlight, and you're like, it'd be good to honor them and to give honor to where honor's due is what Scripture tells us to do. And so that's really what the Golden Hoosier Award does. And so that's run out of my office, and we certainly love to do that. It's always really fun to see these people who really are, they're not looking for any glory, but it's that one moment where you can say, hey, we know you're not looking for this, but we want to honor you. And it's a blessing to them, to their families, to their friends, and to the community. So again, if you know somebody, you can email our office and say, I got a candidate for the Golden Hoosier Award, and we'd be happy to get them on the docket as well. And so it's a really great thing just to honor our neighbors.
Steve Lindell practicing my karaoke for the Delaware County stop of the 92 and U County traveling around the state. Micah Beckwith, thank you very much for the time and service. Safe travels to you, sir.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your week.
All right. That is our interview for the start of this morning's program. We have a lot more to come. Please stay right there on WMUN.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox, and did you know that most deodorants just cover up BO with fragrance? They don't stop body odor. Kind of gross if you think about it. Nobody's fixing the actual problem until Mando. Mando uses mandelic acid to neutralize odor-causing bacteria at the source before there's anything to mask. It's proven to block odor all day, controlling it up to 72 hours. Apply once and you're done. No reapplying midday, no backup plan. Apply Mando like your regular deodorant. The mandelic acid goes to work immediately, neutralizing bacteria at the source. That's it. Mando was founded by a doctor who was fed up with a stale billion-dollar industry that stopped innovating. This is what deodorant should have always been. Mando delivers strong performance, but it's still skin-safe and made with clean ingredients. Don't mask it, Mando it. And right now, new customers can get 20% off site-wide with code 2pros at shopmando.com. That's 20% off site-wide for first-time customers with code 2pros at shopmando.com. Hey, it's Jonas Knox, and everyone hits that mid-morning moment where a little boost would really help, and that's where the new Starbucks Energy Refreshers come in. If you already love Starbucks Refreshers, these have the same bright, fruity taste now with an added boost of caffeine. Your favorite flavors like strawberry acai or pink drink now have an extra kick for the perfect midday reset. Or try something new like Mango Strawberry Energy Refresher or Mango Dream Energy Drink. So when a little lift sounds good today, try the new Energy Refreshers at Starbucks or order one right now on the Starbucks app.
Too many families face a widening gap between what they can afford and what they need to thrive. More than half of families in the U.S. today are one paycheck away from financial crisis. At Good 360, we deliver hope when families need it most, providing essentials like clothing, hygiene items, and household goods. Put help within reach. Learn more at good360.org.
Want to hear more? Replays uploaded daily on WMUNmuncie.com. Now back to Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell, presented by Muncie Community Schools.
In Studio B on the campus of Wolf Boom Radio, one of the items we've been following is a water situation, actually two in the city of Muncie. One will be covered within the local news summary. Another one has to do with the map that I'm showing you now that is up on our Zoom room page here in Studio B. The water company yesterday issued a boil water advisory for a neighborhood in Muncie. It was completely separate and nothing related to what the mayor was talking about. We actually brought you that audio live with him drinking the city water there. This was a valve replacement, and I think technically right now that boil order is over for that neighborhood. Muncie bypass south side of town that was in effect for part of yesterday. Check with the water company to be sure. Now our local news summary airing on WMUN.
Braun says Indiana's sales tax on gas will be suspended for 30 days. He'll look at it again in 30 days to see if there needs to be an extension.
I'm calling on gasoline retailers to ensure these savings are showing up at the pumps. The state will be watching the pumps to make sure savings are delivered to Hoosiers.
And House Democratic leader Phil Giaquinta says while he supports the suspension, he says it's been clear for a while that Hoosiers are struggling and that it's upsetting that it had to get this bad before Republicans took action. Jake McDaniel, Network Indiana.
The mayor drank it on social media this week to prove it's safe, with some Muncie residents noting an earthy or musty taste or smell to their drinking water. Indiana American Water says it's likely a result of a naturally occurring compound in Prairie Creek Reservoir. They note the water is still safe to drink.
President Trump says he's considering withdrawing the United States from NATO, a post-World War II treaty alliance established in 1949.
They were tested and they failed.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt sharing those words shortly before President Trump met with NATO's Secretary General Wednesday afternoon. U.S. law requires a vote from Congress to fully withdraw from NATO. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The Muncie chapter of Altrusa International hosts Spring into Auction event April 19 at Ivy Tech's Fisher Building in downtown Muncie. The group's mission?
Our main goal, our main concentrations are on literacy and women's and children's issues. The club supports those through service projects and other various ways.
That's Karen Dahl on WMUN earlier this week. Early voting for the primary election began Tuesday. Hoosiers have until noon Monday, May 4 to cast their ballot early, and then on Election Day, Tuesday, May 5. To find your early voting location, visit indianavoters.in.gov. A grieving Indiana daughter is calling for accountability following the death of her father at the Newcastle Correctional Facility in 2024.
Hallie Fansel says her father, Douglas, died in a segregation cell just months before his scheduled release. In his final days, Douglas sent desperate messages to his family, pleading for medical help and stating, quote, "I want to live." Hallie claims that despite these warnings and a chronic illness, medical staff ignored his worsening condition. The Department of Correction has declined to comment, citing privacy laws. Jenni Cruz, Network Indiana.
Anderson's D26 Career Center is on the cutting edge of Indiana's new educational requirements. Director Jason Neal told the Anderson Journal Morning Show how the role of vocational training has evolved in educational circles.
When I was in high school, they really pushed kids a lot to go to college. Like, you need to get a 4-year degree, and so on and so forth, or like vocational was just like an afterthought. And now vocational is embedded in the vision of post-secondary education, but also has strong opportunities for students to go right into the workforce.
What started as a bike race is now a full-blown college celebration.
The 75th running of the Little 500 returns to Indiana University on April 24th and 25th. While the event centers on men and women cycling races featuring teams of 4 competing in high-speed relay laps at Bill Armstrong Stadium, it has grown into a larger tradition filled with student celebrations, costumes, and community spirit. Renuka Bachpai, Network Indiana.
According to Lending Tree, the cost for raising a child for 18 years in the United States has climbed to $303,418 now here in 2026. If you average that out, it's about $16,857 per year. The most expensive state to raise a child? Hawaii. John Saucier, Fox News.
Registration now open for the Carl and Betty Erskine FCA All Abilities Camp. This year's camp is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. June 19 and 20 at Yorktown High School. There's a link for registration on our news page today. Quoting, last year's event saw around 700 unique visitors, and using the standard economic impact calculations, we get a total economic impact of over $600,000. That from Lena Reed at Destination Muncie regarding the Elevate 2026 convention in Muncie this week. Remember, more fireworks demos at the Muncie Fairgrounds today 3 to 5 p.m., tomorrow and Saturday 8 to 10:30 p.m. those nights. As Indiana's emergency calls triple, a shrinking volunteer force creates a safety crisis.
I think this may be the best job in the world. Walking into the firehouse is like having a second family. So I literally have all of these brothers that have become such an important part of my life.
That's Jocelyn, a volunteer firefighter. The Monroe Fire Protection District is serving as an ambassador for the A Hustle Worth Having campaign, which frames firefighting not just as a service, but as a fulfilling side hustle. With 60% of young workers already looking for side gigs, the program uses new high-energy videos and digital tools to show that saving lives is the ultimate way to give back. You can see the new campaign and learn how to join the crew at ahustleworthhaving.com. Jenni Cruz, Network Indiana.
The first major golf tournament of 2026 underway Thursday at the Masters at Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia. First time in 32 years the field that'll compete to win the green jacket does not include 5-time Masters champ Tiger Woods or 3-time Masters winner Phil Mickelson. Honorary starters Thursday, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Tom Watson. Jared Max, Fox News.
Art for the People Public Art Celebration Weekend will celebrate 8 public art works in Muncie, April 24 and 25. The event, hosted by the Muncie Arts and Culture Council, and the artworks made possible by a $500,000 investment from the American Rescue Plan Act. More local every day on our free wolfboomnews.com.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Guys, if you want the greatest night of your life, I mean your best night ever, then you gotta hear this. There's a great ED pill out, and it's from the makers of Viagra. It's their ED pill called Viagra AGV, and it's unbelievable. It works super fast in as little as 12 minutes and lasts up to 12 hours. Plus, it's FDA approved and safe. You need to try it for yourself. It's unreal what it does to you. Viagra AGV crushes every other ED pill, and it's endorsed by the head of urology at the prestigious Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Beverly Hills, Dr. Dudley Danoff. Every man alive needs to try this amazing, remarkable Viagra AGV pill at least once. It's beyond belief. Then you'll know why men are going crazy over it. So if you want to have the most incredible night of your life, you can't miss this. Go to scoreblue.com and try it while supplies last. Go to scoreblue.com, scoreblue.com. That's scoreblue.com. Viagra AGV is available only at scoreblue.com by prescription, no doctor visit.
Let me share the story about a man named Phineas who, as a child, survived the Holocaust. Phineas survived because Christians hid him from the Nazis, risking everything to save his life. Today, he is in his 80s. He can no longer stand on his own or leave his home in Israel to receive medical care. And when sirens sound and missiles fall, he cannot get to a bomb shelter for protection. But once again, Christians are helping to save his life.
Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a mobile clinic brings doctors and medicine right to his home, providing care he wouldn't receive, especially in wartime. Christians saved my life during the Holocaust, Phineas says, and now again they're helping me. As Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day approaches, we honor survivors like Phineas, not just with words, but with action.
Give $45 right now to rush life-saving essentials to the vulnerable under fire. Call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ, or go online at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.
Live, weekdays from 8 to 9 a.m. with replays later. This is the Daily Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell.
You are looking now at Jenni Marsh. I am turning on her microphone now, and we are inside the Studio B, which you really like. You said something to me, and I don't recall what you said. It was so creative and unique about the B last time you were in.
I said Studio B puts the boom in woof boom.
Okay, that's right. Can we mark that down? Can we make a note on the highlight reel and make sure that we put a liner out with respect to that, please?
It could just be your tagline for the studio.
I think we should. We'll get it put on a plaque immediately, painted on the side of the wall. Jenni Marsh is the leader of this place. The Heart of Indiana United Way, you are seeing their graphical representation on the screen now. If you're watching on the YouTube page, all the cool kids are doing that. Let's talk about the topics for today, one of which, and the major part, is voter guides that the Heart of Indiana United Way has put together, because there are, as everyone has been hearing us yak about, some changes coming up, starting with the primary.
Exactly. Some big changes happening here in Delaware County. And Steve, as you know, Heart of Indiana United Way is all about helping people embrace their power, whether it's embracing their power, learning how to read, or becoming more financially stable, or getting healthy. And the voter guide is just one more way we are helping people embrace their power as they head to vote centers to cast their ballots in the primary.
Now, this was actually an effort that started in Madison County with respect to teaching, training, and connecting with voters or potential ones. Tell us the infancy of that.
So Community Lens of Anderson is a citizen-driven civic engagement organization initiative that was founded to really try to help increase accountability and education about the political landscape of Anderson and get folks engaged. And so they started the voter guide in Anderson proper and then expanded it out to Madison County. And lucky for us, we have not one, but two amazing social work practicum students from Ball State University, my alma mater. So I'm thrilled to say they have been absolutely instrumental. Abby and Evan, thank you so much for their leadership. They've been able to not only expand the guides, but get one started here in Muncie.
So the thing about Delaware County now, that was the Madison County backstory, but the thing about Delaware County, and it sounds repetitive to those that listen to me and to us on a regular basis, but it's new, and anytime there's something new, we're talking about vote centers now, we got to make sure everybody knows this is done for the greater good. It's done for simplifying and making it even easier to get out and vote. Aside from the voter guides, what other sort of information is available through the United Way that you're talking about this morning?
So within the guide, you can find out how to navigate those vote centers. So you can vote early at vote center locations at the courthouse or at the fairgrounds. You can also find your vote centers in their proximity to your place of work or where you may be running errands. There are links so you can find your way to them specifically with Google Maps on May 5th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. At the vote centers, you'll log in via a computer. So one, they know you've voted and all the other vote centers will know you've voted. But two, so they have your precinct information there because your vote still is recorded by precinct.
Okay, and the other thing that I think you have access to on your website is some questionnaires that have been returned by the candidates.
Exactly.
So if you don't know everything about whom you might be voting for, you could get more educated in that way.
Exactly. This is a nonpartisan, informative resource with lots of links to help connect your listeners to the information they're after. And we asked every candidate, Republicans and Democrats, 3 questions. So they were, what strengths and experiences do you bring to this office? What are the 3 key messages of your campaign? And many residents believe their vote doesn't count. What roots do you already have in our community, and how will you ensure our voices are heard? And to ensure that we fully honored the candidates' perspectives, we made sure to share each answer as it was provided to us in its entirety. And for those candidates who didn't get back to us, despite multiple attempts to get answers from them, we did make sure to include websites and social media links for every candidate. So if you wanted to learn more, if you liked their answers and wanted to learn more, you can go to those links. Or if you didn't get answers from those candidates, you could still go to those links and learn about who they are and what they're running for.
Remind them again where they can click on all that information.
At heartofindiana.org/advocate.
All right. This is Jenni Marsh on WMUN's Delaware County Today. The next subject that I wanted to cover this morning, I think it was last week when the news broke. There was good news out of Indianapolis that the governor's wife had been efforting the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and though there is some gray about the specificity, we'll get down to that when the governor's office and more tells us more, but tell us what the good news overall is, please.
Well, the great news is, thanks to Maureen Braun's fundraising, Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is available in all 92 counties here in the state of Indiana, and any day children might otherwise not have access to books, have books delivered to their homes. That's a great day, so that's a really good news story. Heart of Indiana United Way covers 5 counties: Delaware, Henry, Fayette, Randolph, and Madison counties. And we have Dolly Parton's Imagination Library in all 5 of those counties. So, kudos to the donors who make Dolly Parton's Imagination Library a possibility for kiddos. I do want to make sure that your listeners understand how it is funded and kind of the affiliates that help register children to be in the program, how all of that works. So United Way is the affiliate for those 5 counties, as I explained. We have a staff member that coordinates getting those registrations in and getting them entered and getting them registered. Dolly Parton's foundation, the Dollywood Foundation, helps make the price point pretty low per child. It's only $32 per year per child to receive 12 books a year, one every month. So really nice price point. And state funding provided half of that in recent years, but then that was rolled back. And the First Lady's been doing fundraising to try to extend that support to the affiliates. But by no means does the state's funding or the fundraising that's been done, or does Dolly Parton fully cover that $32. That comes, thankfully, from the foundations and donors who give to Heart of Indiana United Way to make sure kiddos are registered. And every time there's great news like this, more families sign up, which is wonderful, but it also creates kind of a financial burden for the affiliate.
Which means it's even more important for people to be generous to the Heart of Indiana United Way. Correct. How can they get connected, and how can they make those sorts of valuable contributions?
You can always learn more about Heart of Indiana United Way at heartofindiana.org. There's a lovely little donate button up at the top, and if you click that, it'll take you. You can find out all kinds of ways to give. And if you want to speak to a real live human being, call us at 765-288-5586.
All right, Jenni Marsh, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming in.
Great to see you. Thank you.
Studio B with more coming up, and top of hour, we'll have Mick Tidrow, sports of all sorts. It's the weekly live program called This Week in Ball State Athletics. He will emanate from Studio B for the first time ever. It's going to be very exciting. Stand by. That's on the way on WMUN.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio. I'm Gary Dick. Indiana's unemployment rate fell 0.1% to 3.4% in January. The Indiana Department of Workforce Development says the state added 10,200 private sector jobs compared to the previous month. Governor Mike Brown's executive order to enact a 30-day suspension of the 7% sales tax on gasoline includes the potential for extensions. The order is in effect now through May 8th. Taxes on fuel in Indiana are made up of the federal gas tax of 18.4 cents per gallon, the state excise tax of 36 cents per gallon, and the 7% state sales tax. The North American Brass Band Championship returns to downtown Fort Wayne this week. The event will bring some 1,500 musicians from across the U.S. and Canada to the Northeast Indiana city for the 7th year. The Grand Wayne Convention Center will host the event. You're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indiana University is shaping the future of healthcare with Hoosiers in mind. Advancing discoveries that become treatments for Alzheimer's, obesity, cancer, and rare diseases, and training the providers trusted to deliver them. From the lab to your local clinic, IU powers medical breakthroughs and the talent behind them. Discover how IU is solving what's next at iu.edu/impact.
We build Indiana. The Laborers International Union of North America builds and maintains roads, bridges, and other essential infrastructure that make us the crossroads of America. So thanks to LIUNA members' work, Hoosiers have a better quality of life, like access to utilities, easier routes to jobs, schools, or medical care, and deliveries keep moving. We build Indiana for good jobs and stronger communities. The Laborers International Union of North America. We are LIUNA.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-507-5193. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-507-5193. That's 800-507-5193. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Listen to Delaware County Today on Alexa. Just enable the skill, then say, Alexa, play WMUN. Now back to Steve Lindell.
where in Studio B, I am sitting here, and high above my head is what you're looking at now on the video feed. That is really cool drone footage that we put together with some help from some great people. Mike Rhodes might have been the one that did that drone footage. He will text me in a moment and remind me. It is from one of our many web pages out there on the interwebs. The woofboom.com, I think, is that one. There's so many of them. It's hard to keep track of them all. How about if we do this? Let's get a snapshot of your day today.
It's April 9th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Name Yourself Day. Normally I go by CJ Papa, but today I'll be Anchorman. Studies have shown that there are links between a person's name and their personalities. It's called the Dorian Gray effect, named for Oscar Wilde's novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Also on this day, it was wedding bells for the British royal family in 2005 as Prince Charles married Camilla Parker Bowles. It was his second marriage. He was first wed to Lady Diana Spencer, later known as Princess Diana. In 1967, the best-selling airplane in history had its maiden voyage, the Boeing 737, a short to medium-range plane. And in 1950, comedian Bob Hope made his first ever television appearance on the Star-Spangled Review. Previously, Hope had resisted being on TV, saying radio was a softer racket. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
On WMUN, the home of Ball State sports. I'm talking about football and basketball and baseball. Thank you very much. Home this weekend, the Cardinals are. That sort of sounded like Yoda. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that is one of the subjects I'm sure that will be covered by Mick Tidrow, voice of Cardinals, when Jeff Mitchell, one of his guests, inside Studio B. Jeff Mitchell has been in here and on the air before. He is quite good with the microphone and the sportsy stuff. That is why he does what he does for the Cardinals. 9 o'clock start time, top of hour. Stay there, Mama in Minnesota. Don't click off that Alexa device. I know you're there. Hello. Hi, Roger, too, and Sister Sherry. Next item, people are talking about President Trump could reduce the U.S. footprint in NATO territory.
Donald Trump's America.
President Trump says he's considering withdrawing the United States from NATO, a post-World War II treaty alliance established in 1949.
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested, and they failed.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt sharing those words shortly before President Trump met with NATO's Secretary General Wednesday afternoon.
It's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over the course of the last 6 weeks when it's the American people who have been funding their defense.
The president has called out leaders of NATO countries for refusing requests for assistance in the Iran war and in the Strait of Hormuz. The Wall Street Journal was first to report President Trump is considering punishing some NATO members by moving troops out of their country. U.S. law requires a vote from Congress to fully withdraw from NATO. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
WMUN News Talk, Sports Talk, Community Talk. We're also MuncieJournal.com talk. You can read there. Top story this morning, a study out of the CBER from Ball State University. You can see the information. Mike Hicks and others that are local resources are quoted as such. You can find out more on that for free and any day, every day on MuncieJournal.com. Editor-in-Chief Mike Rhodes doing a fantastic job for us. Next item that people are clearly talking about, and Fox's Jennifer Griffin now has the latest on the military's actions in Iran.
Military Matters.
At a rare Pentagon briefing following the announcement of the ceasefire with Iran, Secretary Hegseth declared victory, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, outlined what Operation Epic Fury destroyed after the U.S. military hit 13,000 targets in 38 days.
CENTCOM forces destroyed approximately 80% of Iran's air defense systems, striking more than 1,500 air defense targets, more than 450 ballistic missile storage facilities, 800 one-way attack drones storage facilities. All of these systems are gone.
But General Kane said no forces are being sent home yet.
A ceasefire is a pause, and the joint force remains ready if ordered or called upon to resume combat operations.
At the end of the U.S. bombing campaign, Iran still has 900 pounds of highly enriched weapons-grade uranium and has enough drones and missiles to threaten to close the Strait of Hormuz. For Military Matters in Washington, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
WMUN, an affiliate of Fox News Radio, updates right around the top of the hour, every day, because news happens all the time. One of the stories in Indiana that broke yesterday, we had first word about Governor Braun's decision of pausing the state gasoline tax. Immediately, there were a couple of ideas and press releases that came out. One from the Indiana Democratic Party, headline, 17-cent idea from a 17% approval rating governor. You can see that press release on our news page this morning. The other item coming from the Attorney General from Indiana, Todd Rokita, says he vows to protect Hoosiers from gas price gouging during the temporary gas tax suspension. All that news is on the radio first. We talk faster than we type. And then it's also on our web entity, woofboomnews.com. That's woofboomnews.com. Scanning around the fruited plains, you can see our listeners far and wide. Is that Atlanta, Georgia listening now? Far more of our listeners are on the terrestrial apparatus. That, of course, would be the 92.5 FM and 1340 AM. As we have been calling this Artemis Week, continuing, Fox's Eben Brown reports in the fourth of our 5-part series now.
Fox on Tech, the evolution of spaceflight.
The final Apollo moon mission was in 1972. Americans would still fly Apollo capsules to Skylab, the first U.S. space station, and then on the Apollo-Soyuz test flight, while all this time building a reusable space plane. The Space Shuttle, eventually a fleet of winged orbiters, the first spacebound flight with Shuttle Columbia, lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center in April of '81.
And the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Launching vertically, but landing on a runway. The shuttles would fly for 30 years, despite 2 deadly tragedies.
Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
The Soviets built their own, but never got beyond an uncrewed test flight. But without shuttles, we wouldn't have built the International Space Station with partners from Russia, Canada, Japan, and Europe, which has hosted humans in low Earth orbit now for longer than 25 years. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
WMUN 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, where you will hear Ball State baseball from Shebeck Stadium Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A home series, free to get in and worth every fun piece of item Cardinal-wise that you could possibly muster. Please get out and support those guys. Volleyball is a big deal, too, as we are here on the 9th day of this month of April. They're home tonight, 7 o'clock, and the Ball State Dudes have their senior day, 4 p.m. on Saturday, with MEVA in the balance. I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about that and all those possibilities top of hour when we go live with the Ball State Sports Show with Mr. Mick Tidrow and company. Now, from March of 2022, we found this one in our unplayed archives.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A former Marine from the UK who wants to help Ukrainian refugees makes today's Dean's List. Tom Littledyke says he was inspired to act after seeing pictures of families broken and separated by the conflict. He loaded a 16-seater minibus with sleeping bags, pillows, and toys for families moving across the Ukrainian border into Poland and says he will drive 1,000 miles to deliver them. In an interview with the BBC, Tom says, "Too often we think that we have to do something grand, and if it can't be grand, what's the point? It doesn't matter what we do as long as it's something in the right direction. There's so many of us who want to help." The drive will take Tom through England, France, Germany, and Poland before arriving at the border with Ukraine, where it's reported over 500,000 refugees have fled. After unloading his supplies, he plans to utilize the bus to give rides to people who have a place to stay. A story like this deserves to be shared. Janice Dean, Fox News.
Thank you, Janice. I have confirmation via text from our Mike Rhodes, and I quote, that amazing drone footage was shot by the amazing Mike Rhodes. Oh, I knew it. I just knew it. Stand by, top of hour, just like every Thursday. We've got our weekly program This Week in Ball State Athletics. That is Mick Tidrow in the green room right now. You will be hearing and seeing him from Studio B in just minutes here on WMUN.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox, and everyone hits that mid-morning moment where a little boost would really help, and that's where the new Starbucks Energy